I think we might enter a recession in approximately spring of 2022.
Called it. Nailed it.
Now the thing is that recessions are not necessarily a bad thing. I've now been through a few of them, and what tends to happen is if you have a boom that goes on for too long, you get misallocation of capital. It starts raining money on fools, basically. It's like any dumb thing gets money, and I'm sure you've seen a few of those. At some point it gets just out of control, and you just have a misallocation of human capital, where people are doing things that are silly and not useful to their fellow human beings. And then those companies, there needs to be sort of an economic enema, if you will, to have everyone sort of shift uncomfortably in their seats. But
I'm sorry, it's just I'm visualizing it. The economic enema.
Listen, it's got alliteration.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Eventually, the economic enema does its job. It clears out the pipes, if you will.
Yes.
and sort of the bullshit companies go bankrupt, and the ones that are doing useful products are prosperous. But there's certainly a lesson here that if one is making useful product and has a company that makes sense, make sure you're not running things too close to the edge from a capital standpoint, that you've got some capital reserves to last through irrational times. Because in the past, when there's been a recession, it has gone. It's amazing. It's flipped like a light switch. I mean, David, do you remember this from the PayPal, ex-PayPal days, when we raised $100 million in March of 2000? And we had the demand was so high, we had people like VCs like just literally without even a term sheet wiring money into our account.
We'll send the term sheet later.
they literally would sleuth out our bank account number and wire money in, and we're like, where'd this come from? And it's like, so it was like they were literally fire hosing money in March of 2000. And then in April 2000, the market went into free fall, and it went from raising money was trivial to even good companies could not raise money in a month. So it's just important to bear in mind that PayPal almost went bankrupt in 2000. We came close, but thankfully we'd raised that $100 million in March 2000, without which we'd be in game over basically. And we kind of saw it coming. So it's like we got the X-Confinity merger done in like 3 weeks and raised $100 million because we were like, we see this coming to an end pretty soon. And then a month later, it was like, a nightmare basically. Anyway, so it's just important to make sure if you're a healthy company, you got some capital to get through things. And then what's your costs? And if it is a recession, which more likely than not it is a recession. I'm not saying it is, but it probably is. Then just watch your cash flow and get to positive cash flow as soon as you can. But I think we probably are in a recession, and that recession will get worse. But these things pass, and then there will be boom times again. So it'll probably be some tough going for, I don't know, a year, maybe 12 to 18 months is usually the amount of time that it takes for a correction to happen. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Hey, David, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it feels like it started. What started as a slowdown earlier this year now seems like, technically, I guess we need 2 quarters of negative growth to be in a recession, but it feels like we're in one. It feels like it started. The growth stock, the software businesses that we invest in are sort of the canaries in the coal mine, and there's a lot of dead canaries. Maybe not dead, but
they're having a hard time breathing.
Yeah,
I'm not dead yet.
It's not dead. It's just napping. It's
napping. Wake up, little birdie.
Wake up.
Hey, Elon, a lot has been talked about as we wrap here, and you've been incredibly gracious giving us so much time. Thank you for that. A lot of talk about American exceptionalism over the last couple of years waning, and maybe this country had seen its best days. And we see the work you're doing and other people in this great country are doing, and the debates we're having about the future. And China's doing pretty fantastic. Russia's on the ropes. But it does seem like America is still producing some of the greatest companies the world has ever seen, some of the greatest innovations. What are your thoughts on America and our future, and what we need to keep this country and this beacon of hope that, 4 of the 5 of us were not born here. 2 of you came from South Africa, and
No, 3 of you.
3 of you came from South Africa, and 1 of you from Canada. I don't know what they're putting in the.
Oh, from Sri Lanka.
And from Sri Lanka and through Canada.
Via Canada.
Via Canada.
He came through Canada too.
Yeah, I know. It seems like that's the way.
Canada is a gateway.
It is a gateway. And how do we? I'm hinting at the answer here, but it does seem like our immigration policy is absolutely insane, and maybe we need to keep collecting some of the great individuals that I get to share the stage with here, and yourself. We need to keep bringing great people to this country. Why can't we get that in our heads that not immigration, it's talent recruitment?
No, absolutely. I think it's incredibly important that the United States be like the destination for the world's best talent. I mean, you can think of this like a pro sports team. If you want to win the league, you want the best players on your team. There are obviously a lot of very talented people born in the United States. But if you can add a few aces from outside the country to the team, you're going to win the league. And here's the thing: those aces actually want to work for your team. They don't want to compete against you. They want to win. They want to be on Team America, and so it's like we have to fight them off to not be on Team America. That's the crazy thing. And so it's like if you had some aces that are the difference between winning and losing, we should be really recruiting them like you'd recruit a star basketball player or football player. That's what we should be doing. Active recruiting. Just like if you're a company that wants to succeed, you actively recruit the best talent. And that's the way to win. And if that stops happening, America will stop winning.
And we have 2 administrations in a row, Biden and Trump, who don't want to let the greatest minds, the most talented people into this country. Is absolutely insane. I think deal with this every day. Yeah, right?
I think the reality is actually anyone who wants to work hard and do useful things, and this we want in the United States.